Okay. Welcome everybody. We acknowledge the land upon which we work and live, the First Nations and their nations, and recognize their connection to the land, water, and community. We continue to learn, listen, and grow together. Saying that, welcome everybody. Call the meeting to order and approve of the agenda, please.
Be it hereby resolved that the agenda for the February 4th, 2026 regular meeting of council be adopted as printed and circulated.
Okay, can I get a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Demers, second by Councillor Banbury. All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Not seeing any. And minutes from January 21st.
Be it hereby resolved that the minutes of the January 21st, 2026 budget meeting of council be adopted as printed and circulated.
Okay, can I get a mover and seconder? Moved by Councillor Barnes, second by Councillor Young. All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. Any business arising from the minutes? Not seeing any. No public meetings today, and we have delegation. Frank Gross, Manager of Transportation, and Sean Van Acker, Supervisor. Welcome. Did you guys predict the weather so you didn't have to drive in the snow finally for a change?
Yeah. Take more of this. Good timing. Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks for having us this afternoon. I'm Frank Gross, Manager of Transportation and Waste Management with Oxford County, and I'm here with Sean Van Acker. He's the Supervisor of Transportation. So we're here today to present the findings and recommendations of speed management and traffic calming studies that we completed at several locations within Blandford-Blenheim. So we wanted to share the findings and recommendations, or proposed recommendations, with this council, and then we'll be bringing those forward to County Council on February 25th for their review and approval. Yeah, and we did previously meet with township staff and with the mayor and reviewed our draft findings and recommendations with them. And with that, I'll pass it over to Sean, and he'll go through some of the key points within each study area.
Thanks, Frank. Yeah, so the slideshow presentation I have here, we'll go through it, and the first few slides I'll skip through rather quickly. It's more background information so we can get into more of the findings and recommendations at each community. So study area locations in Blandford-Blenheim included Oxford Road 29 in Windfall, Oxford Road 2 in Gobles, Oxford Road 8 in Washington, and Oxford Road 8 through Plattsville. In 2019, Oxford County Council adopted a countywide traffic calming approach. These are the underlying key principles of that traffic calming approach. For each speed and traffic calming road safety review, we follow a work plan. This is a brief outline of what that work plan looks like. And when we're doing the speed and road safety reviews, we utilize the Transportation Association of Canada's guidelines for establishing posted speeds, which takes into account physical and road user characteristics and a number of other criteria that get analyzed. This just speaks a bit to the importance of choosing or selecting appropriate posted speeds for each situation, and some of the inherent problems with speed variation or differential speeds when the appropriate speed is not maybe selected. This is a brief outline of the county's community safety zone warrant process. It's a two-step warrant process. Warrant 1 needs to be met in order to proceed to the warrant 2 analysis. Basically, that's an outline of it. So more into the study findings and recommendations here. We'll start with Windfall, or on Oxford Road 29. As you can see, the study area location there is just west of Hubbard Road, west of the 401 overpass. Existing conditions in Windfall included a current posted speed limit of 80. It's a rural road cross section, 2-lane road, gravel shoulders, roadside ditches. It's considered an historical settlement. There's no sightline restrictions, And there's currently no roadway illumination through Windfall. This is a summary of the speed data that was collected through Windfall. And as you can see, speeds are anywhere in the mid 90s to high 90s. We looked at the collision history through Windfall for 5 years, from 2020 to 2025, and including the first quarter of 2025. Throughout that 5-year and a bit period, there was a total of 8 collisions through the study area. The 8 collisions that were reported included 7 property damage only and 1 non-fatal injury. 6 of the collisions were single motor vehicle incidents, 3 involving animals, 3 involving vehicles leaving the roadway. 1 of the 8 was a side swipe, and the other one was a rear end incident. There was an average of 1.5 collisions per year, and the study area collision rate is 0.7 collisions per 1 million vehicle kilometers. Below that bullet point, you'll see the province-wide collision rates for 2019 were 1.53 collisions per 1 million vehicle kilometers, so that's all roads in Ontario. And the 2021 rate was 1 collision per 1 million vehicle kilometers. We suspect that the lower 2021 collision rate is likely due to COVID and less traffic that was on the roads during that time period. We reviewed the speed in different segments through Windfall on either side of it and through Windfall itself. As you can see, utilizing Transportation Association of Canada guidelines. In doing so, we found that the TAC recommended posted speed through Windfall is actually 70 kilometers an hour, whereas it's currently posted at 80. And to note, we are recommending a speed reduction to 70. And the speed and road safety review findings summary for Windfall showed that there was excessive speeds through the community. There was increased truck turning traffic at the nearby waste processing plant. The TAC recommended posted speed is recommended at 70. There's no speed-related collision trends identified that we could see. The collision rate is below the provincial rate, and we did analyze the community safety zone warrant, and warrant 1 was not met. So. The immediate measures being proposed include a speed reduction to 70 kilometers an hour through Windfall, and the installation of speed feedback signs at the 70 kilometer hour zone limits to support, driver compliance.
Do you want questions on each section as you go through, or
However
right
you
at the
want,
end?
it's fine. However you'd like to do it. If you want to do it throughout, we can do that.
Does anybody have anything on Windfall? Councillor Demers.
Yeah, just, given the results, I wonder if it's really substantiated to spend the money on materials and labor for a 10 kilometer per hour drop that nobody's going to pay attention to anyway. Anyway, it's, it seems like resources not very well spent. If the results of this are, sure, there's excessive speeds, but you said yourself that the collisions are not a result of excessive speeds, so it makes me wonder why are we bothering to do this if the result's going to be the same. Mm-hmm. Anyway, just a thought.
So, sure. Through the mayor to the councillor to answer your question there. I mean, we initiated the study as a result of resident feedback, concerns with speed through Windfall. Speeding was identified as a problem through the community. TAC does recommend a posted speed of 70 through there, given the existing conditions. Will people continue to speed through there? I mean, the hope is that the speed feedback signs will be that subtle reminder that gets them to slow down and follow the law. But again, the speed feedback signs and any signs really are for law-abiding citizens, and you'll always have those that will continue. But I mean, our past findings in our post-monitoring has shown that speed feedback signs are effective at reducing speed. So So yeah, I think it's worthwhile going through the exercise. Speed feedback signs are not a huge financial burden. And yeah, I think it's worthwhile to do it.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So when you're looking at these, specifically these 4 areas, is it driven by comments from residents? Or is it, you mentioned earlier in the presentation that you have a work plan. So do you identify the communities in the settlement areas and you do so many a year? Or is it, are you being responsive to complaints and sort of tracking that information? And
Yeah, so through the mayor, the majority of our speed studies and speed reviews are being conducted as a result of resident feedback, complaints that are received about speeding being a problem. And, you know, from there, we collect the data to validate that the concern is legit. You know, sometimes it's a perceived effect, right? Everybody seems to think that large trucks speed, but oftentimes it's just the noise that they make, and people, you know, you have that audible, I guess, trigger that makes you think, oh, that truck's driving fast. But you know, we always validate the concern before we proceed with response measures like speed feedback signs or other things. So yeah, that answers your question.
yeah, I was, part of the reason why I asked the question is because oftentimes there's a sense that, you know, when residents complain about something, that nobody listens. So this is proof that they are being listened to if these 4 areas are identified as, at least partially, as a result of people calling in and having concern. So that's why I asked the question, sort of
Okay.
get it on record.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's correct.
Anything else from council? It'd be curious to see the data from, like, say, a year or 2 from now to see if it's dropped at all. I'm hoping nobody ever does the speed limit. It seems like very few, and I'm thinking hopefully it'll at least drop it down 10K in that stretch. That's what I hope that the data will show. But yeah, for sure. Thank you. Okay. Anything else? Okay, we'll move on to Gobles.
Okay, so moving along then to Oxford Road 2 through Gobles. Here we have a map showing the study area location through the community. Brief summary of the existing conditions. Again, 80-kilometer-hour road, 2-lane road, paved shoulders through the settlement. It's considered a rural settlement cluster in the official plan. There are no sightline restrictions, and there's presently no intersection illumination at OR2 and Gobles Road. Sorry, there is intersection illumination at OR2 and Gobles Road. Here's a summary of the speed data through Gobles. As you can see, majority of the data points collected were in the high 90s, one upwards of 104 kilometers an hour through the village. Brief summary of a collision history here for a 5-year period, plus that first quarter of 2025. There was a total of 4 collisions through the study area location. Of the 4 total collisions reported, all were property damage only. 3 were single motor vehicle incidents involving animals. Diving into that a little bit further, because I was curious whether deer crossing ahead signs were warranted. Some of the animal-related incidents were domestic, so that's not the case. There was 1 turning movement incident at Gobles Road. The average collision rate is 0.8 collisions per year. The study area collision rate was 0.6 collisions per 1 million vehicle kilometers. Similar to Windfall, we studied either side of the community of Gobles and then throughout. And again, TAC recommended posted speed through Gobles was 70 kilometers an hour. And so in turn, the county is recommending a 70 kilometer per hour speed limit. The speed and road safety review findings found that there was excessive operating speeds through the settlement. The TAC recommended posted speed is 70. Collision rate is below the provincial rate. The majority of collisions were animal related, and community safety zone warrant 1 was not met. So for immediate measures being recommended, we are proposing to reduce the posted speed to 70 through the rural settlement cluster and installs speed feedback signs at 70 kilometer-hour zone limits to further support driver compliance. And then here's an immediate measures map that shows what that would look like. If there's no questions, I'll continue.
Okay, anything on goals? Councillor Banbury.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. I travel from the Gobles Road up to Woodstock on a regular basis, quite often, first thing in the morning when it's dark and when it's dark in the evening, coming home. Over the years, I've noticed lots of deer crossing the road. One time I had a fairly close call. It wasn't really close, but it was a single deer, but I have seen as many as 2 or 3 in a cluster go across the road, certainly in the fall. So I just wonder if it wouldn't be a good idea, somewhere between Eastwood and Gobles, maybe even east of Gobles, if there was some kind of bit of a sign put up. I think in Brant County, they even have a sign that with a flashing light on it during the deer season, like in the fall, especially when the hunters are out, the deer are more active and so on. So I don't know, that would be my suggestion anyway. In that particular area. Maybe the same would apply at Windfall. I don't know how many, well, there were some animal-related accidents there, but, but often they don't amount to anything but property damage, but, they are potentially dangerous for drivers as well.
Okay.
So through the mayor to the councillor's question there. Yeah, so there is a warrant criteria for a deer crossing sign, and I should have looked that up before I came, but I didn't. It goes something like this. There has to be at least one collision with a deer every year for so many consecutive years, which then in turn triggers the installation of a sign. In saying that, like, our study area location was very short through Gobles. You'd mentioned from Gobles to Eastwood even. And I mean, that's something that we can take a deeper look at just to see, and we'll make note of that.
It's a heavily wooded area too. So.
Yeah. Outside of this study here, we'll investigate that further.
It's outside of
Yeah,
what you're
yeah.
looking at.
For sure.
Yeah. Problem with that is, though, how many people report it, right? Like getting hit with it, hitting a deer. I know my daughter hit one the other day, and I know she didn't report it, right? So it's kind of hard to use the stats because a lot of people probably don't even report it, I would imagine. But, okay. All right, anything else on this? Okay, we'll move on to Washington.
Okay, so moving along here, Washington, as you can see, here's the study area of Washington. In 2016, it was found that there was excessive operating speeds through the village. So I should note, this is actually a post-monitoring study, this one. So we visited Washington before, back in 2016. At that time, there were speed feedback signs put up. I don't know, Frank, can you mention what else was done there? Oh, sorry, yeah.
That's fine. Go ahead.
So in 2017, the second quarter of 2017, there was, this is before my time, posted speed was reduced to 50 kilometers an hour through Washington. 60 kilometer hour transition zones were extended at the east and west approaches, and there were speed feedback signs installed within the 60 kilometer hour zones. Here you can see the previous year's speed data back from 2016, and also what was captured by us in 2020 and 2024. The post-monitoring speed and road safety review findings showed from that 2020 and 2024 data, there were still excessive speeds within the 50 kilometer hour zone. The 60 kilometer hour transition zones were shown to be ineffective in reducing speeds approaching Washington, and the speed feedback signs were somewhat ineffective in reducing the incoming speeds at their current locations, being within those 60 kilometer hour speed transition zones. Here you can see what we analyzed, the speed zones on either side of Washington and through the village. The TAC recommended posted speed through Washington is actually 70 kilometers an hour. It's currently posted at 50. As county staff members, we're not proposing to change the speed limit through Washington. We're recommending it actually stay at 50 kilometers an hour. So the recommendations coming out of the post-monitoring study include installation of center line flexible delineators at both approaches, where the 50 kilometer hour zone begins, elimination of the 60 kilometer hour transition zones, and relocating the speed feedback signs to the limits of the 50 kilometer hour speed zones on both the west and east approaches to Washington. Here's an immediate measures map that shows the locations of where the speed feedback signs would be relocated to. The orange squares there, and also the black lines being the flexible delineators that would be installed as well to further support the speed driver compliance through Washington. So if anyone has questions, I can answer those. Yep.
Okay, anything on West End?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Councillor Demers.
Just a question about the delineators. They are to, I don't know if my understanding is correct, is it to make the pathway look smaller so that people are sort of forced to slow down? Is that the idea?
Yeah, that's the, through the mayor to the councillor, that's the premise behind the delineators, is to provide like a lane narrowing effect. You know, make drivers pay more attention. You know,
try not
there's
to
something,
hit them.
there's something there. You know, don't hit it. Slow down. Ideally, I mean, we'd love to be able to use delineators on both the center line and the fog line. However, as you know, as we all know, Oxford County's rural and has a lot of farm equipment and large vehicles that use our roadway, so that's not very practical.
And these are taken down in the wintertime to not encumber snowplows, is that right?
Through the mayor, that's correct. They need to come down during the winter months.
Good, thank you.
Anything else from council? This is very similar to what we did, I think, in Drumbo and Bright. I'm not sure if it was Princeton as well, but we used to have 60s. Actually, Drumbo was away on the other side of the hill at one time, and it just did. I remember the same study. It just didn't slow anybody down in that 60 kilometer. I'm really curious to see. My only concern with it is, my only one is that people use that higher rate of speed slowing down coming into the village. So I'd be curious to see what the numbers are a year from now if they're working where they are with these shoulds. Okay, anything else from council? Nope. Okay. Move on to Plattsville.
Okay, moving along to Plattsville. So this was a post-monitoring study that we had already completed. And then, in turn, there was also a pilot study that took place after that, so I'll speak to both. So in Oxford Road 8 through Plattsville, here's the map showing the study area locations. In 2016, speed data was collected and it was found that there was excessive operating speeds at the east end of the village. As a result, there was a number of measures implemented in 2016. There was a 10-meter long raised center island constructed and illumination at the east end. And then in 2023, we installed speed feedback signs at the east approach and within the 50 kilometer hour zone near Walter Street. As well, we eliminated the 60 kilometer hour zone and adjusted the 50 kilometer hour zone at the east end. And we also installed oversized posted speed zone signage at the east approach. And then implemented in September of 2025 as a result of the pilot study that County Council approved. Work was completed extending that center island and adding curb extensions to create a horizontal lane deflection or lane shift. So here's the speed summary map showing the data. And then another speed summary map showing more data west, on the west end of the study area. And so the post-monitoring speed data collection from 2025 showed that the curb bump outs and the lane shift had although it had some effect, it was somewhat minimal in reducing the vehicle speeds. Overall, the 85th percentile speeds were marginally lower, and the speed feedback signs were shown to be effective in reducing vehicle speeds. So the immediate measures being proposed going forward here are to add flexible delineators on either side of that center median island to further reduce the effective lane widths and create greater horizontal deflection, to force vehicles to lower their operating speed through the traffic calming feature. So from this, maybe before I go on here, was there any questions with Plattsville?
Any questions on the
Comments?
Plattsville one? No? I know it's very hard to slow that coming through there, and I know when I remember looking at it on paper, I thought, oh, that'll work very well, and it's because we had to put the lower bump outs in for combines, whatever, going through there, that it kind of took that effect away. And that's why I know I suggested to you the delineators there. I'm not sure, be curious to see if they worked last time we put delineators there. I think they lasted about 2 days on one of our roads, so hopefully they're better on yours. So will you do again, I'm presuming you will, a year from now, do a study again to say, hey, the delineators didn't work, or whatever? I think the only other thing you could do is possibly put like a speed hump right across, and I'm not sure what the rules are that on county roads. Or
Yeah, through the mayor, to answer your question. Yeah, so we definitely will collect post data. If the immediate measures are approved and we do put the delineators in, we'll collect data after that to see what effect, if any, they had on further reducing posted speeds. You are correct. The design did need to take into account larger vehicles, but I think we can provide more horizontal deflection there and still get vehicles to slow down even further, while still maybe accommodating the larger vehicles that make use of that roadway. If the flexible delineators are found to be effective at reducing speeds further, then I think what that'll tell us is that perhaps our median center island needs to be wider to push that traffic further outside to the outer limits of the lanes within that section where the median island is, right? So, I'm sorry, what was the second part of your question again?
I've just mentioned the possibility of speed humps there, but I know usually on those kind of roads you don't.
So we did in 2024, I believe it was. Did we put a report to County Council with recommended traffic calming measures, a whole host of traffic calming measures, their suitability, their dollar value, their practicality, and speed humps are not a practical traffic calming measure for an arterial road network such as the county road network. It's designed to move people, goods, and services, and at times fast, especially in emergency services vehicles situations. So having speed humps there could possibly hinder emergency service response. The other fear is that by putting speed humps on an arterial road, like a county road, it could have unintended consequences. If traffic doesn't like the speed hump, they might zip through the subdivision to avoid it, or which then ends up pushing larger traffic that should be on the county road off onto your roads, which I'm sure your residents won't be too happy about either if they start seeing that kind of traffic through their subdivisions. So that's, I hope that answers your question.
Okay, yep. Councillor Young.
I just have a quick question about the map 2 in Plattsville.
Yeah.
If you could just, because this is what I actually hear quite a bit about in our town, is that area right kind of out front of the fire hall. So it's past that traffic calming spot. But could you just explain to me the number, like the 73 kilometers is what the average speed is collected at the data collection point?
So it's not the average, it's the 85th percentile speeds.
Okay.
Yeah, so 85% of vehicles are driving 73 kilometers an hour or slower.
So in that box beside that says the speed feedback sign,
Yes.
is that what they're being tracked at that sign?
So the square box is the speed feedback sign, and the data shown there is the data that it's collected. Now, you have to understand that that sign is collecting data probably further west of that data point that is the round circle, that is the 73 kilometers an hour, because the speed feedback signs can pick up vehicles 150 meters away. So,
Because it looks like they're speeding up
yeah.
by almost 20 kilometers in some, like 18 kilometers an hour.
We did see some anomalies with some of the speed data that we collected, and that one does seem to stick out like a bit.
And that's what they're saying. The people who live there
Yeah.
are actually saying, since that traffic calming measure was complete, the traffic is faster coming in, which is what this is showing, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But they reached out to me maybe 2 months ago and said that it's increased the speeds. And when I see that 73 is the 85% of people going right when you're coming into town, it is kind of alarming. It's almost, it's 20 kilometers over the speed limit. So I just wanted to clarify those numbers because I know I will have some questions about kind of this report, and I just wanted to make sure I understood all those numbers. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It does seem kind of bizarre that the speed would pick up after this, because it's more than what was there before. Before it was just a little island. This is quite a bit bigger with hump coming out. It seems bizarre that the speed would be more. Something doesn't make sense, does it? Yeah. Okay. Anything else from council? Nope. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so picking up where we left off there. So next steps include, this is the public consultation, with council, but there is public consultation. There's being mailed out to residents along all those study area locations along the frontage. And it will be posted on the county's website as well, not Speak Up Oxford per se. I learned afterwards that we're kind of getting away from that and putting more information on our newsroom page, but it will be there. And then the plan is to proceed to county council with the final findings and recommendations in February 25th. And then after that, if approved by county council, we're looking to implement immediate measures in Q2 or Q3 of this year. And then once implemented, we will continue with more post-monitoring efforts and data sharing with police. Also coming up in the near future here, there's the proposed Oxford County Road Safety Strategy, which is collaborative effort between the county and the area municipalities to develop an Oxford first road safety strategy through the creation of an ad hoc committee and multiple inputs and feedback from residents and councillors and the county and staff. And then too, there's the Road Safety Improvement Fund that the government announced, which is funding that's available for municipalities for the purchase of speed and traffic calming measures like speed feedback signs. The first rollout of the funding, I understand, will be for those municipalities that were already partaking in the automated speed enforcement, which we were not. But the second rollout of that funding, I understand, is to be for other municipalities.
Okay, anything from council? Yeah, actually, they were questioned that at Roma about exactly what you just said about are we allowed to get that funding, and they said, yeah, the second round that we'd be able to, whenever that second round comes through. So, okay, anything from council? Nope. Thank you very much.
So just quickly there,
Yep.
one final thing. So future study areas include Oxford Road 8, Duro Street, so the north-south leg of Oxford Road 8, which we did a couple years ago now. We did the initial speed and road safety review, so that'll be a post-monitoring follow-up.
Okay.
And with that, I'd like to thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I just wondered too, Kevin, if we could post when something comes from Oxford County, if we can share that on our social media as well, get it out to the public.
Excellent, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that Oxford County's Speed Management and Road Safety Review Presentation 2025 be received as information.
Okay, can I get a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Banbury, second by Councillor Demarest. Any comments? All in favor? And opposed, if any? And that's carried. Okay, thank you. Okay, our next is Denise, Director of Finance. And Nancy.
What's that?
And Nancy.
Nancy, I only have a couple questions.
It's on the other side.
I had sticky notes all the time. Never left this sitting on my... Welcome, Denise.
Thank you. So in regards to the 2026 draft budget, there was a great discussion at the last council meeting, and there were some adjustments made that are showing here on this sheet. So there was some that were made prior to the presentation, just some things that were carried forward that were being funded from reserves. There was some discussion about some other items that were either being funded from reserves or that were cut from the budget. And I just want to show one item here that we have added to the adjustment sheet. So it's the replacement of some heaters in the Interkip shop that is being funded from a reserve. So there's no effect on the levy there. And so this is where we stood at the end of the last meeting, with a 5.14% increase to the levy and a 3.96% increase to the average residential property or the tax rate itself. And I will just show, this is the overall increase with our township taxes as well as the county and the education. So overall, with 3.96 to the township and 5.8 to the county, and an overall increase of 4.26%, or $166 to the average residential assessment of $323,500, or a monthly increase of $13.86.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's other items that council would still like to discuss as far as adjustments to the budget, but we can have those discussions now.
Okay. Councillor Demarest.
First of all, I just want to thank, I reached out to quite a few people over the last 2 weeks to get myself up to speed and, reviewed some things online. So I appreciate everybody's help in sort of getting me up to speed. Everybody knows how much I hate missing budget. This is like my lifeblood and it makes me happy. But I actually really pleased with where we ended up. I really just have a couple questions. First one for Denise is, given the work that's been done on the asset management plan and what we've done in the past, in terms of increasing our reserves at 2.3% per year, I just wanted to make sure that that was included in the budget.
So the AMP that was approved by council in July of 2025 did recommend a 2.3% increase on our overall levy to increase the contributions to reserve by that amount, and that did amount to about $183,000, and we did make that additional contribution in this draft budget, yes.
Wonderful, thank you. I think that's important for long-term sustainability, so I'm glad we've been consistent with that over the years. If I can, I just want to ask Jim a quick question about the flail head.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll let them come up, because that way people can hear
Okay.
on the mic at home.
Okay. Yeah, Jim, I just wondered about the purchase of the jumbo flail head. I understand that it's going to improve some efficiencies, which is great. So I wondered if there would be an increase in service level as a result of buying this piece of equipment? Can we do more mowing, like 3 times a year instead of 2, or are there other things we're not doing now? Like, you know, in practical terms, what does that mean in terms of time savings for you guys?
Yep, for sure. Through you, Mr. Mayor. So the flail head, as I mentioned, will allow us to do 1 pass. It will save us time, man hours. Typically, right now our level of service is 2 cuts per year. We do a 3rd cut for certain areas depending on the growing season. Obviously, if it's a wet season, things grow a lot quicker. They need to be cut a 3rd time. We do that. The time saved allows us to do more. We can use the machine for doing brushing, getting those scrub brush in that back further away from the road to open up the road. As far as man hours will allow us to do more projects such as removing the high shoulders from our gravel roads, picking up the large body wood from trees that have come down. There's lots of different activities like that we can benefit from the save time.
Okay, awesome. Oh, that's all the questions I had. Like I said, I was really pleased with the where we landed, and you know, I've been through it pretty thoroughly, and really can't see anywhere else where we can make any changes.
Perfect. Okay. Anything else from council? Your last chance. No? All right. Perfect. So do we, we'll have a bylaw for our next meeting prepared?
I have a resolution to direct staff to prepare the bylaw.
Okay, perfect.
Be it hereby resolved that the 2026 adjustments in tax rate calculation be received as information, and further, that council directs staff to draft a bylaw to adopt the estimates of all sums required for 2026 for township purposes as presented.
Okay, can I get a mover and a second, please? Moved by Councilor Barrenberry, second Councilor Barnes. Any comments? No, just the same one. Thank you for staff and everybody doing a great job. It turned out very, very well for us, so. Okay, all in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. Okay, thank you, Denise. Okay, next is Dustin, right? You're next.
No, we're on correspondence. Did you?
Oh, sorry, did I flip through it? Sorry, let me go back over. Oh,
It's on the back.
back page, that's why. Okay, and we have correspondence specific, Greenville 1 OPP Detachment Board. Okay, you want to go ahead?
Be it hereby resolved that the specific correspondence item be received as information, and further, that council directs staff to prepare a letter based on the template provided by North Grenville, Merrickville, Wolford Village OPP Detachment Board to be forwarded to the relevant ministries and the Premier of Ontario.
Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Young, second by Councillor Demers. Any comments on that at all? Councillor Young.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on that. I had asked this to be added to the agenda because every time I read things about the school bus arms and crossings and lights, and I always think I have misread the number of incidents that happen. So I usually go digging a little deeper and find that unfortunately that is actually what's happening every day. And we sit here a lot and talk about driving. Distracted driving is on the rise, and we just heard about speeding. So I worry when I think that parents are putting their children on buses to arrive at school safely and arrive at home safely, and people are blatantly disregarding the safety features that are there to keep our kids safe. So when I read this, it was shortly after I had just seen a video posted in our own township of somebody passing a bus with flashing lights. And I thought, isn't that, like, I saw the video and I read this within the same week, and so I thought it is important that we do all we can to keep our roads safe, and our kids safe, and our communities safe. So I think it's really good to just pass along this information and at least have that conversation out there.
Anything else from council? For some reason, I thought cameras were already mandatory. Yeah.
I was doing a little research, and what I found was they weren't mandatory, but they can voluntarily have them, but they don't all automatically get count as offenses for people unless they go to court for them. And there's still more reading to do, but I think there's more that can be done too to help with that, yeah.
Maybe they
And I
have
might be wrong, but,
Maybe they have to be voluntold.
yeah.
Okay, anything else from council? Councilor Bembry.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I think it's a great idea. I attended a session, I think it was a couple of years ago at the Good Roads, and it was a gentleman, he was kind of a moving session because he may have been Indigenous, I just forget now, but anyway, it doesn't matter. When he was younger, he lost his younger brother in an accident. Somebody drove past the bus, so he's been advocating for cameras and the arms as well. I guess the arms are mandatory now, right?
Yeah, I think
so,
yeah.
But he was advocating certainly for the cameras. So that would certainly act as a deterrent, and anything to promote safety for children getting on and off the bus is worthwhile.
Okay, anything else from council? Not see anything? Okay.
All those in favor?
Yep, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, our next one is general. There's two. The Oxford OPP Detachment Board, our report, and the other one is from Director of Public Works, Oxford County, Melissa Abercrombie. Anything on either one of those? I know, so at the last meeting, I was vice chair. Now I'm chair of our police services board now as well. And one thing we've asked is if we can have a detailed report just for our township. I know all the reports have been Oxford County wide. So I believe going forward, we're going to be getting ones that are detailed for our township as well. And there were some other ideas at the meeting, a little more community engagement, some more, whether it's social media, YouTube, whichever, on different, could be on fraud, whatever. So those are some of the thoughts that I think are going to go coming forward as we get going. I think that's it. Councillor Young.
I was a little bit shocked when I read some of this that a lot of these numbers are seeming to decrease, which I thought was interesting. When you look over, I think speeding had decreased, break-ins. There was a few that kind of stood out when I'm not sure I don't know how if it's just the things that reported, obviously, but I just was kind of shocked when I read that, when we just had a report here about our own villages having the speeding increase, and then I read this report saying that it's decreased, and I just thought it was interesting. I do love numbers when it comes to things like this, but then sometimes I have to think about how valid some of these numbers are, but that was just no question about it, just a comment that I thought was interesting.
You know, I thought the same thing when I saw it, and I know this one is from October to December, but I just wonder, with the weather we had, it came so much quicker this year, like into November, we were already getting into I just wonder if that has anything to do with it. I'd be really curious to see if the January, February, March ones go way down because of the cold we've had. I'm curious to see if that weather has made a difference in some of the reports. So, okay. Well, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that the general correspondence items be received as information.
Okay, can I move in second, please? Moved by Councillor Young, second by Councillor Bammer. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed, if any? And that's carried. Okay, staff reports. Drew Davidson, Director of Protective Services. Welcome, Drew.
Afternoon, Council. Mr. Mayor. Here to present a monthly report for December last year, and kind of some highlights and discussion. December for firefighters presented quite a range of emotions, from the joys of the holidays to some structure fire to MVCs with a high amount of fatalities for some reason during that short stretch there. Staff wanted we were in a very supportive role over the month of December with our firefighters. Council, just for your background knowledge, you may or may not be aware, sometimes when there's an incident where there's trauma and they need to get to the hospital quick, they will take 2 firefighters with them to do compressions that way. This happened multiple times where our firefighters were, and it's not necessarily to Woodstock, it could be to Cambridge. That happened twice. One instance, they were routing to Hamilton before they got called off. So staff likes to be able to go to the hospital and be the first point of contact to pick up those firefighters, to come back to support them, and then back to the station too. So that was a lot of December, supporting our firefighters, not just at one station, but at multiple stations there. But on the flip side, we were able to enjoy and put on some programs. Santa was quite busy in Blandford-Blenheim in the month of December, and the firefighters were still able to put on a brave face there and have a great time with the community. One note of a good item again with our signs that we've had. There was, if you followed along, it was the 12 Days of Christmas that we were able to do. We submitted that to the Fire Safety Council. Everyone in Ontario, all the municipalities were able to submit that. And Blandford-Blenheim was selected. They took 10 out of the whole province, and we received $500 and towards fire prevention equipment for our township. So because of the messaging that was on our signs out there, so that was a good thing that came in December as well. There's more in there, happy to discuss. Just want to point out that upcoming event on Family Day weekend on the Sunday is the pancake breakfast down here at the Drumbo Station from 9 till noon, and it's donation only for that event there too. So hopefully see everybody out for that as well. With that, happy to take any questions.
Okay. Anything from council? Councilor Demers.
Just a quick question. I see this all the time on the graph, and I keep forgetting to ask
Sure.
you. For the December calls, there's some responses for EZT, North Dumfries, and Wilmot.
Correct.
So, which of our stations respond to those? So is it always Drumbo that responds to EZT calls, or is it kind of?
We have an area, so from 29 to the 4th, and from Oxford Road 22 towards Interkip, that would be when EZT comes into our area.
Gotcha.
For that first little bit, and Drumbo goes and supports that. From the 4th over to Highway 2, Princeton would go up and support that area there.
Gotcha.
Is the area that EZT would look after for us.
And North Dumfries would be either Plattsville or Drumbo, depending?
Yep,
on-
it's kind of that area down by Tressler where the train tracks are.
Right.
Down that area where air kind of covers a little bit of area for us.
I was just curious because I sort of look at our 4 stations and how those sort of not really outliers, but outside of our township sort of would stack on top of the Drumbo responses or the Plattsville responses or Princeton responses, because it really changes the numbers, right? Like if Drumbo responded to all 3 of them, then that would really make things exponential. But yeah, I was just curious how they sort of got allocated amongst the stations.
Yeah, so that's when they come in our township to cover there, and I believe that was EZT would come in, and I don't have the exact for the whole year there, but those calls have come down quite a bit there too. It's not the call volume as far as EZT coming to cover some Blandford-Blenheim area is very low. Same with North Dumfries and Wilmot. I don't have the exact numbers with me, but it would be less than 10 the whole year type idea.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anything else from council? Good to hear we got that extra money. Does that mean we deduct our budget $500? I just always looking for something, right?
Absolutely.
All right, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that report FC 2521 be received as information.
Okay, can I get a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Councilor Young, second by Councilor Barnes. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Thanks. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay, and next, Jim Borton, Director of Public Works. Welcome, Jim.
Afternoon.
I have my monthly report for January. So we've been working, as you know, Phase 4 with Cassidy down in Princeton project. Did not get completed. All the underground is done. Base asphalt is down. We do have some curb work left to do, some sidewalk and driveways, and of course, some topsoil did get put down, but none of the sod got put down before the weather changed. We have had meetings with Cassidy. We will be their first priority once the weather allows. We will also be working on the final phase of that project, which is the top lift asphalt, completing, raising the manholes, raising the catch basins up to the top, the final grade, and finishing the concrete behind them. So that is all in the works. We're currently working with Oxford County. As the mayor has mentioned before, there is a crosswalk scheduled to go in at Main Street by the library, Victoria Street. So we are working with them to get that included in our tender. That way we ensure that that work is done and the underground gets put in before we put a top lift on that road, and then they come 2 weeks later and cut it all up and dig it all up. So that will be part of the tender, so that does not happen. Bridge 24, this is the bridge that is scheduled to be replacement. The EA is basically finished. We're just waiting on final comments back from so that we can file it with the Ministry of the Environment. And then we will be getting that tender out. Due to the in-water work, we cannot start until July 1st, but our goal is to have the tender contractor in place and ready to start as soon as we possibly can. And Bridge 23, this is the deck rehabilitation. This is the bridge on Blenheim Road, just south of the Fear Farm. That is ready to go. We did the rehab analysis last year, and this is scheduled for the repair. So that tender is ready to go once the final budget is finalized.
Okay.
Service sharing group, we met in EZT, had a very good discussion. If you remember, during Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, there was a significant weather event called. We tried to do it as jointly as possible. I believe all the rurals and Oxford County were involved with that one. It worked really well, having everybody involved and call it at the same time and call it off at the same time. So we had a good discussion on kind of the pros and cons and how everybody made out with that. As far as my connection with AORs, obviously our next meeting will be at the Good Roads Conference coming up. Drainage, Adam attended the annual drainage conference as well. He's been working on the CLI ECA documentation. So whenever a new development comes in, they go on our CLI ECA for the swim ponds. So that's, Adam needs to make sure that he has all that information, and so that's what he's been working on. And then as far as infrastructure maintenance, the weather has been keeping us very busy. The guys are in good spirits. We've managed to get through everything. As I said, we did have the one significant weather event. Knock on wood, we haven't had any major breakdowns, stuff like that, just routine. Get it back up and fixed and ready to go. So I asked Kevin to put something on Facebook for respecting the drivers, where there's been a lot of talk, not so much within our township, but certainly other municipalities are struggling with their drivers being belittled, berated. So we've joined AORs. AORs did a very nice post out, respect your driver. They're out working when everybody else is at home. So I just wanted to make sure that that message gets out, that these guys are out in the worst of the worst weather, trying to get the roads clear so that when you wake up, you can get to work, you can get out on the road. There's no need for them to be yelled at, put down. We're doing our job so that you can get to yours. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions from Councillor Demers and then Councillor Bamber?
Yeah, just one question. I heard that there's sort of an ongoing salt shortage, and I wondered if that was going to be an issue or is an issue for us?
So there is a salt shortage. We haven't had any issues. We are staying on top of it. Obviously, with our contract, municipalities are getting first dibs on that. We have been close a few times, but we can call them, and if we do need an emergency load, they are prioritizing that. So it's been a little tricky ordering ahead to make sure that we have enough, but we've been fortunate enough to do that. Now they are working extra shifts, and the weather the past week will help, where there hasn't been such the high demand, but
Have you had to change your mix at all?
we've used more sand, but again, we would have done that anyways with the cold temperatures that we've seen. Once you get to -13, the salt really stops working anyways, so we have used more sand, only more so for the temperature reason than the demand on it.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Okay. Councillor Bamber, did you have some?
Yeah, Councillor Demers stole my questions.
Oh,
so I
okay.
have one.
Perfect.
Sorry.
Perfect. No worries. Okay, anything else? I'll reach out to you in the next week or so. Our Drummond Lions is thinking of doing a crosswalk, but instead we've kind of switched gears a little bit, and we're thinking of doing it on the sidewalk that goes up to the monument in Drummond. And I remember when I was at, I think it was Good Roads, there was people there that had, you know, the decals that you can put on rather than painting it. So I was just curious if there is, if you're looking through your books and you see something that's like of the soldier or something like that. I don't know how expensive they are, but we're curious to see about maybe purchasing something, just one or two of those decals to put on that sidewalk to the monument at the school here.
Yeah, I can certainly pull that information up.
Yeah, okay. I'll talk to you anyway, maybe next week or so. Okay, okay, go ahead. Anything else from council? No? Okay, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that report PW 2601 be received as information.
Okay, mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Young, second by Councillor Banbury. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Dustin, our Oxford County Planner. Welcome, Dustin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good afternoon, council, staff, and those in attendance today. Oxford County has received a request for an extension to draft approval concerning a residential subdivision that was approved in Princeton for 6 single detached dwelling lots. This was originally approved in March of 2023 with a lapsing date of March 22nd, 2026. So the applicant has requested a 2-year extension to draft approval, which would take us to March 22nd of 2028. And through the letter that was provided asking for the extension, they did note that some of the work was delayed in clearing conditions given the work that was going on in Princeton, specifically the drainage work. But with now this generally wrapped up, they've advised that much of the detailed engineering design should be completed in early 2026. As a result of our circulation, no departments or agencies raised any concerns with extending draft approval. And in our opinion, given that there were no concerns and given that the applicant appears to be working towards clearing conditions, staff are here today to recommend that the 2-year extension be supported by Township Council. And if it is supported, we would take that resolution to Oxford County advising of the support and the extension of the draft approval.
Okay. Any questions from council on that? Nope. I'm not seeing any. Okay, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that the Council of the Township of Blandford-Blenheim advise Oxford County that the township supports a 2-year extension of draft approval for the plan of subdivision submitted by 2498298 Ontario Limited, SB 22091, for lands described as lots 82 to 87, 95 to 98, Part Lot 99, Plan 99, parts of Elgin Street, Church Street, Wonham Street, Part Lot 12, Concession 1, Township of Blandford-Blenheim, to March 22nd, 2028, to provide additional time to register the plan of subdivision.
Okay, can I get a mover and seconder? Moved by Councilor Banbury, second by Councilor Young. Any comments? Just nice to see a little bit of growth happening in all of our villages, for sure. Okay, all in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. Thank you very much. Okay, and next is Trevor Bear, our Manager of Community Service. Welcome, Trevor.
Afternoon, Council. Good afternoon, Mayor. Just here to do the monthly report for the Community Services Department for January. In the arena, we've seen more cancellations again due to weather. It's been a bad winter for cancellations. But other than that, everything's running pretty smoothly in the arena. Staff have been working with regular baseball user groups for the 2026 season. That includes a minor ball group and some other tournament groups that we're just scheduling now to move forward for this 2026 season. And then just an update on the EV charging stations. At this point, we sent back an amendment in July 2025 to reflect what the township requirements were, and we're still waiting for confirmation for that agreement. So, other than that, that's...
Okay, anything from council on there? Nope, not seeing any. Okay, thank you, Trevor.
thanks.
Go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that report CS 2602 be received as information.
Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councilor Demers, second by Councilor Barton, sorry. Any comments? All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. Thank you. Okay, any reports from council members? Councilor Demers.
There's a few things going on in the villages. On February 14th, the Blenheim Home and School Association's hosting their Boot Scoot and Sweethearts Valentine's Day Dance. My understanding is that there's still tickets available, and there's actually going to be someone there to teach the steps. So it's supposed to be a lot of fun and great fundraiser for them. On February 28th, the Lions Club has a team in to walk in the coldest night of the year. The mayor and I are both going to be walking in that and are looking for sponsorships from anybody that would like to do that. On March 7th, the Drummond Lions Club will be having their annual elimination draw. If you're interested in going and don't have your ticket, make sure you reach out to somebody because they are almost gone. And PDP Lightning Fastball is registering for the 2026 season if you have any children or grandchildren that are interested in playing fastball this year. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from council? The only other thing I noticed, I don't know the time, I'll ask Trevor will know. I noticed there's a free skate at Plattsville on February 14th as well, sponsored by Arpan Kana. What time? 1:30. If anybody's... Okay. Skate on the 16th from the Plattsville Lions Club. And what time's it at? 12 to 2. Okay. All right, so there's lots of free skates to get out there if you wanna try it out. Okay, nothing else? Okay. Any unfinished business, motions and notice of motions, and new business? Councilor Young.
Yes, I just wanted to, I have a resolution here just regarding the planned work on the water filtration in Plattsville. So I'm really excited that that's moving ahead, and I want to thank Mayor Peterson for advocating for that. I just wanted to make sure that I was addressing many of the concerns that we hear in Plattsville about the hardness of the water, and just to make sure that we're acknowledging and we know that that's a concern and that we're bringing that forward. So I will just read this for us. Whereas Oxford County has advanced project works related to the Plattsville Municipal Drinking Water System within its 2026 capital plan, reflecting continued collaboration with the Township of Blandford-Blenheim on local water infrastructure priorities. And whereas Council continues to receive feedback from residents and businesses regarding the documented hardness of the Plattsville municipal water supply, which, while an aesthetic concern, has ongoing negative impacts on plumbing fixtures and day-to-day water use. And whereas the Township acknowledges that the Plattsville drinking water system continues to meet all applicable provincial regulatory standards and that the water is safe for consumption, and whereas Council recognizes that there may be potential efficiencies in considering any feasible measures to address water hardness in coordination with the capital works that are now scheduled. Now therefore be it resolved that Council respectfully requests that Oxford County explore whether any additional or complementary measures may be feasible to mitigate the impacts of water hardness in the Plattsville system, and further that any findings, options, or considerations arising from this review be reported to County Council for consideration with the Township advised of the outcome as appropriate.
Perfect. Thank you very much. You want to comment on that? No? Okay.
So is it under new business that we can ask for a seconder now?
Okay, that's what I was just going to ask you. Okay, so you're moving it. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Demarest? Any comments now at all? All in favor? Opposed, if any? And that's carried. Thank you very much for bringing that forward.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we're going into closed session.
Be it hereby resolved that council move into closed session under the authority of Section 239 of the Municipal Act at 5:12 p.m. to discuss A, CAO 2601, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality, Section 239-2C, regarding land transfer. B, CAO 2602, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality, Section 239-2C, regarding land transfer. C, CAO 2603, litigation or potential litigation including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality, Section 239-2E, regarding legal matters. And D, CAO 2604, litigation or potential litigation including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality, Section 239-2E, regarding legal advice.
Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Young, second by Councillor Demarest. All in favor? Opposed, if any? And that's carried. Okay. It's just sitting there, out of the blue. If you want to go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that council provided direction to staff regarding reports CAO 2601, CAO 2602, CAO 2603, and CAO 2604.
Okay, can I get a mover and second, please? Moved by Councilor Barnes, second by Councilor Demarest. All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. And bylaws.
Be it hereby resolved that bylaw 2532, 2026, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council, be read a first and second time.
Okay, can I move in a second, please? Moved by Councilor Young, second by Councilor Banbury. All in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. And third reading.
Be it hereby resolved that bylaw 2532, 2026, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council, be read a third and final time.
Okay, move in a second, please. Moved by Councilor Demarest, second by Councilor Barnes. All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. Anything under other than tomorrow, if anybody can make it, 12:40 at the Princeton, at the old Princeton Fire Hall first is where we're going.
40?
Yep, 12:40.
12:40, okay.
Yep. Okay, and adjournment.
Whereas business before council has been completed at 5:40 PM, be it hereby resolved that council adjourn to meet again on Wednesday, February 18th, 2026 at 4 PM.
Okay, can I move in a second, please? Moved by Councilor Young, second by Councilor Banbury. All in favor?